Hey, y'all. You are listening to Definitely Not For Everyone with your girl, Nicolette, and I'm here with my co-host. Y'all know her, Diana. We are here today, and it's an honor. Thank you so much for coming on. We are here with, can I name all the things? A blogger, photographer, mother of two, trainer, digital creator, TikToker, Instagrammer, Facebooker, all of the goddamn things. We are here with Lauren Nobles, aka the Lipstick Tomboy. Please say hello to the audience and our listeners.
Hi, everybody. You guys, it's such an honor to be here. Thank you so much for having me on. I really, really appreciate it.
Aw, you wrote that in your email, and I was like, girl, honored. We're the ones that are honored.
But stop it.
Saying that. All right. So, I mean, Diana, you know the deal. We want to say it, or should I say it?
Oh, go right ahead, please. I'm freezing, so go right ahead.
The pandemic was shit.
Yeah, it was.
For real.
TikTok made it better. At least for me. It made me be able to go to sleep at night with a smile on my face, with happiness in my heart.
Right? I mean, what a little phenomenon that was.
Right? And you were one of the, and you were one of those things that made me happy. And that made me feel confident. It made me feel like, it's okay to be a boss bitch and still, it was okay to be you, and you was beautiful. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And like the way that you empower other women, and you do it so flawlessly. It's like so part of your nature. Like you didn't have to work at it, if that makes sense. Like it was really awesome. And I enjoyed all of it. And the reason why you're here really is for me to say thank you.
Thank you.
Well, you guys, thank you. I mean, thank you so much. That's, I'm still coming to terms with hearing that from people. All this was kind of an accident. To be perfectly honest, TikTok was kind of an accident for me. And I've kind of found myself in the process of starting that page. So it's been kind of an interesting journey and an awesome one. And it's kind of sounds weird to say that that TikTok had that kind of effect on my life, but in a way it was a way for me to be cathartic. So you guys just kind of got stuck on my journey.
And I think that was the beautiful thing too, is like we saw, I think, and that's why I think everybody loves TikTok so much, is because like we're on the journey with you. You know what I mean? It's so much realer than Instagram and Facebook and all whatever.
I totally feel the same way.
Is. Yeah. You can just really just be you and be celebrated like instantly at the same time. You know what I mean? Whereas with Instagram, it's like the perfect photo and like the perfect background and,
Tell me about it. I mean, because you talked about part of my background. So being a photographer, I had an influencer that I shot for all the way up until pretty much the pandemic hit, right around the holidays before probably 2019, I guess it would be. I was shooting for her, and there was a lot of pressure on her, and she's somebody who had issues with eating disorders and things like that. And so I was seeing that happen on Instagram for her, and now that I have an Instagram page, I'm like, it's not as honest and raw as TikTok can be. I just don't feel like I have the same platform to do that. Granted, it's taken her a while, but now my blogger friend is now addressing all of these issues that came along with being, an Instagram person who had 16,000 followers, which for Instagram, that's, pretty significant because Instagram grows so slowly in comparison to TikTok these days, right?
Yeah.
And right now TikTok is like, they've changed all kinds of things.
There's all kinds of funny that you say that. I mean, and I think we're just kind of talking right now, but like, I was looking on TikTok the other day and I was like, this doesn't feel the same. It feels really different. It's like, I feel like they're forcing other things on me that I'm really not, I don't know, like, I guess maybe it's like they're trying to introduce newer things You know,
yeah.
maybe, I don't, it doesn't feel the same, to be honest with you.
And I have found I was on, I try to keep a pretty diverse FYP. I intentionally follow people of all kinds of races, backgrounds, sexual identities, genders. I like kind of being able to curate my FYP, but I felt like it's kind of gone off the rails. All of a sudden I was on like hot firefighter FYP, and I'm like, okay, I know I'm a single mom, but I'm not necessarily curating myself to that. That's not necessarily why I'm not one of those TikTokers that's trying to find their long lost, hottie. That's just not, you guys see my page, it's just not who I am. So yes. They have changed some things up. I think they're also trying to get rid of a lot of these bot pages that seem to be hitting.
Interesting.
Yeah, I was completely spammed for about 3 weeks, and I was spending all my time just managing, blocking people and all this kind of stuff. And then all of a sudden it stopped. And then all of a sudden I would see that I'd get all these followers, but the needle at the top wouldn't move. So I think they're culling a lot of things out, realizing they have an issue. And then their algorithm has, I think, had to adjust because of that. And therefore things are just a little wonky. Different right now. Yeah, they're a little wonky. And I think once all that gets sorted, hopefully things will kind of like sort themselves out. But like some things move at a snail's pace and other things move really, really quickly. And I'm not sitting there going, I need to have as many followers as say Scott D. Henry or, any of these major TikTok brands and guys, but I do feel like I just want an outreach. So like I could stay with as many followers as I have if my videos get seen or my ADHD and my mental health TikToks get seen, that kind of stuff. So, it's weird, but it's kind of one of those, like, there's one of those games where you're just like, I'm going to figure this out this week. And then all of a sudden it changes. It's like, oh, I thought I had it all nailed. It's like, it changes again.
The troubles of TikTok. Oh my God.
I know.
Speaking of hottie, we're going straight into the questions now. And it's not,
you can go into
the thing. I hope. Okay. Hottie, you Miss Thing. You is a hottie.
Girl. Thank you.
I was like, wow. Yo, I have to tell you, like, you mentioned this too. Like the pandemic has been yes, girl, guess it. She had alcohol, Diana.
I need alcohol. Dang, go get yourself a drink, girlfriend.
I know. I was like, how fast did I run to the kitchen? No, go ahead. No,
go ahead. You totally resident. So, this pandemic has been some shit. Like I was working out consistently. I was feeling good about myself. I had lost like 2 inches off of my waist. I was fly as shit. And then I started all of the things, right? Like, because you feel as a human being during the pandemic that you're not doing enough. So you need to do more, right?
Oh, I didn't
you're not being productive. Fuck you.
You didn't.
Okay.
You're like, no.
Fuck you, Diana. Right? And I started doing
listening though.
Girl, I started doing all this other stuff, doing the business, getting the podcast right, doing my art, and working out went to shit. And now my belly, it's like I'm like 5 months pregnant. Okay. Like I got like 3 sets of breast rolls, like 3 sets of breasts, like one here, one rack, a second rack, and then a third rack. And it's like
instead of a 6-pack, it's a 3 rack. D.
Yes. So I know you have just started like motivating yourself back into it. And needless to say, you didn't need to start motivating because you already looked fly.
There's a whole bunch of history here when it comes to like my body, and and it's a whole other, it's something that I have a tendency to address every so often on TikTok and on my Instagram page. But I've always been an athlete my entire life, but I've been a yo-yoer. Like my body weight would go up and down. I was running half marathons, and I was considered, a little on the overweight side, but I was incredibly healthy, but I had some body image issues that came with that. But if you've been on my TikTok, you know that I've had 3 spinal surgeries. And what happened was with the second spinal surgery, I decided not to take opioids and I decided to lean on like THC and CBD instead.
Right, yeah.
Doing so, when I was on the opioids the first time, I gained a ton of weight. And I had, 25, 30 pounds to lose after that. And it was really, really hard, even for somebody who who worked out on a regular basis and was kind of used to it. And I was like, oh God, I got to lose all that baby weight again. It was like one more thing I had to do. And so when I got to the second time, and before both of those surgeries, I really wasn't walking on my own because the pain was so incredibly high. So the second one, when I chose not to take opioids, it meant that it was harder for me to get to the kitchen, harder for me to get to the bathroom, and that kind of thing. And then all of a sudden, all this weight was just like, until I looked like I was sick, and that wasn't healthy. So once we got it fixed, I had to put this mental spot in my head that would say, okay, neither of those situations are good for you. You're now in a situation where you don't have any choices anymore. You've had your first spinal fusion and you're only 42 at the time. You now have to either get your ass in gear and be as strong as you can and as light as you can, so you can carry the rest of the weight of your spine safely, or you're just gonna end up. A lot of people have that victim mentality where they just end up on the couch and they were like, well, I can't anymore because this. And so I did a lot of research about what I was allowed to do and what I was not allowed to do. And then therefore, coming out of that, I had this personal trainer I was spending a ton of money on. And he looked at me one day and he was like, you could do this yourself.
Nice.
Why aren't you getting your own certification? You could work for us if you want. And this was before pandemic hit. All of a sudden I was getting a divorce and that was on the back burner, and like pandemic hit, and they said, you can extend it, but you only have like 3 months, 4 months to get this accomplished. Well, that was my pandemic project. And that taught me how to train myself so I could do it safely.
Nice.
And so a lot of people look at me and say, oh my God, this body, well, I'm new and this is new to me. So I'm trying to not be over the top with it, but I'm also trying to allow people to understand that came with a journey that it's not like I was born with like looking like I was an athlete. It took me time. It took me trial and error, and it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
A lot of ragged work. But like my whole goal is like I had to start from the inside out. Like I had to start on those intrinsic core muscles. I have to have that really incredibly strong in order just to survive. Literally, it's a survival technique. So there's, like I said, and granted, hottie status kind of came along with divorce and this single,
that's a motivator all by itself. Yes.
Oh, it's its own thing. Yeah. It's totally its own thing.
And about the divorce, congratulations, girl.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. It's for a reason, and it's always a good reason.
Always.
So,
it's a journey though. It's tough. I mean, I was divorced and it was a horrible divorce. A horrible divorce.
Well, he was an asshole.
He was, and it was tough. But I found my husband now, and we've been together 4 years, 20 after.
Oh, that's amazing.
That divorce. Yeah. So, I mean, I wasn't looking for it. It just happened. And there he was, and we're still here. And, I dig it. The whole thing is a journey. And that's why it's exciting talking with you, because we get to follow through the journey and we see you do it. And that gives hope to us that, I can do it too. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So and that's kind of it. That is so you're cool. Welcome. Thank you so much. And just to say, you do not look like you're old enough to be in your second husband of 24 years. Can I just?
I'm 49.
No.
Yes. Yeah. 49. Yeah.
You got
feeling
amazing genes.
Today. Some good genes.
Well, let me tell you, I used to say I was like 42 going on 82. So I get that feeling so much. Oh my God.
I'm gonna since everybody's sharing their age, I'm gonna say I was 42 years ago. Diana loves when I say that. Because she's like, that means you're 42, bitch. But whatever.
Such a happy way of saying that.
Yeah, I mean, I just turned 45. So my 40, beautiful. Like I'm still in my birthday month. So just hit 45.
Aquarius.
Happy birthday.
An Aquarius baby. Yes. Thank you.
Stepping out that box constantly. So, okay. So tell me about your upbringing.
Oh, we went back. We went back to Upray. I thought we was gonna go back.
No,
okay,
no, come on now. We don't have to follow it like
okay.
exactly the way it says on the paper. You know,
like
like gotta let the conversation flow.
Yes.
Damn. Ah.
Yeah.
So you had talked about how you grew up. You talked about like you were an athlete and stuff like that. But like, who were your parents? What were they like? Did you have siblings? Like struggles that you went through, you know, when you were younger?
I think we all do.
Tell me all the girl. Yes. Tell me all the things.
Tell you all. Okay. So if you're on my page long enough, you know that I was raised in Oklahoma. I was actually born on Long Island though. So, you know, I'm kind of an original Yankee, just to say that out loud. But my father was an incredible athlete and a recruiter. He did recruiting for like oil and gas managers kind of, you know, nationwide. And so they had moved to Long Island for him to do some training with this company he was with at the time. My mom, who's still with us, is a school teacher, retired school teacher. She still lives in Oklahoma.
Yay, Mom.
So, yay, Mom. So I was raised in this small town. It's kind of a suburb / kind of corn town south of Tulsa, Oklahoma. And Tulsa is really it's the second largest city in the state of Oklahoma, but it only has less than 500,000 people in it. So if that kind of tells you anything, it's still kind of a city with a small town mentality. And so I was raised by, my dad was kind of like an all-city, all-state basketball player in high school and college, and came and found soccer when he was like 30 and became obsessed with it. And it's like 6'3", 200. Yeah, he was a goalkeeper. Because he was naturally a basketball player,
right?
And his hands were massive. He had to like special order gloves, and he could palm a soccer ball. So he had this crazy reach and like an amazing reflexes. And he could have been a world class. He could have been a world class soccer player. They won. I remember they won like the nationals for the over 30s men's nationals league, like when I was little. So that's where my athleticism comes from. My mom. School teacher, just like the sweetest lady on the planet, but being raised in Oklahoma, and she was my drama teacher. So I was a teacher's kid growing up. So I grew up like really like prim and proper, and I did all the right things, and I got all the grades, and I played soccer. I was a competitive swimmer. I was also in theater, on the drama team. And so that's kind of like a high school age, but at the same time kind of being like the drama kid. I was like that. I wasn't necessarily looked at as an athlete, but I wasn't looked at as the drama kid. I wasn't looked at as like in a popular group. I wasn't, you know, I was just this kid who kind of floated amongst all these groups, and the boys never asked me out because my mom was a school teacher. And I was also raised in the Unitarian Church in one of the most conservative states in the country. So I was raised a liberal. My mom and my dad are very like open-minded and accepting, yet you know, I would sit there and have to listen to people tell me that I was going to go to hell because I did not necessarily accept Jesus Christ as my savior. And yet they were people who had family in the Klan because that existed in Oklahoma at the time. And so it was hard to wrap your brain around. I had a real issue with world religion, like major world religion for the longest time. As an adult, I'm coming around to what does that look like for me personally. But at the longest, I was just like, I'm just not doing it.
That's right. That's right. I can understand.
I totally relate.
I know, don't we? Yes.
But given all that, my upbringing was relatively ideal. You know, my parents were happy. I have a younger brother who's now in Austin, Texas. He's, you know, 3.5 years younger. My best friend, also a soccer player, also a drama kid, you know, all that kind of stuff. And then I go to college and I decide to major in theater. I struggle in college really, really badly because I had ADHD and I didn't realize it. College was a real struggle. I had a good friend who passed away in college from a single car accident. She was one of my friends in high school. And then my dad was diagnosed with terminal brain cancer. And I just couldn't get my shit together.
Well, and you were still a kid. Like, you're not supposed to get your shit together. People think you go to college and even you're this grown person.
Right. And even without all of that, like major life event kind of shit going on. I still had ADHD. So like my grades were awful. I didn't understand how somebody could sit down and like study for chemistry or biology and not have to read the chapter 5 times before they test. And I was like, how do people have time? You know, and I was in rehearsals all evening for theater. And I was so glad to be done with college. So, I mean, kind of in a nutshell, that's kind of my upbringing. And then I got married literally. So I graduate college, my dad passes away that August, I'm married by the next September. So I kind of just felt like I had this little, like, kind of a box, like or like a string that I was kind of just attached to this little string that was just going to take me in this one direction. And I really didn't have a lot of, once I got married, I didn't have a lot of options to figure out what my own, I didn't give myself enough time, and I didn't have enough options while I was married to figure out what my career looked like, when I was supposed to do with theater and what I was going to do. It's just like, so yeah, so that kind of brings us to like, but as a young adult being married, we had a lot of fun. We traveled, we did a lot of great things together. And so my marriage is not one of those ones where I was like, I completely regret that.
Right.
It just had an expiration date.
Yes.
Does
that make sense?
Yes.
That's okay.
Not everybody is for forever. That's right.
And it's okay, and it's healthy, and he's happier, and I'm far happier. I'm more myself.
Yeah, you know, that is my motto. Not everybody's meant to be in your life forever. I got the t-shirt, I wear the hat. Yes, that's my my philosophy to everybody. Yes.
Exactly. I completely agree with that.
Yes. But when were you formally diagnosed? Did you know you had ADHD in college when you were struggling, or that came so much later? Can you share with everyone your journey with that?
Absolutely. So I knew that my ex-husband, just for some context, is a CPA at one of those big 5 accounting firms. He's a partner and tests on the genius level. He's almost got a photographic memory. And I knew that I was really, really smart, but I couldn't figure out why I couldn't get things accomplished. And a lot of times there was a lot of negativity that came from other people because of that. Going through therapy, he said that I wasn't ambitious, that I had no ambition, and that I was lazy. And if anybody you know who's been diagnosed with inattentive ADHD, these are all kind of like keywords and terms that get thrown at them on a regular basis. And I knew that I was somebody who it took longer to comprehend things. It takes me longer to focus. And it's not necessarily longer to comprehend, it's longer to focus on something. So once I sat down and I studied for that CPT, that certified personal training exam, before I was diagnosed. I've only been diagnosed for about 6 months at this point. And literally this whole cloud just goes, oh, whoosh. You're like, oh my God. Okay. And some people have to mourn it. Some people have to mourn like, oh, I could have done so much better in college, and I could have done this, and I could have done that. I did a little bit of that, but for the most part, I'm just like, at least I know. My therapist was the one who told me. Nice. She said, I was in therapy with her for several months before she really, really brought it up. Okay. And there was some negative connotation around it in my marriage because my ex-husband's younger sister had it and had some issues that went with it that weren't healthy for her or healthy for their family. So it was not something I ever felt like even if it was on my radar, I don't think I really could have pursued it much without being worried about whether he would have accepted me or accepted the diagnosis at all.
Wow. Okay.
So yeah, there's a whole weight has been lifted. Now, granted, do I still have days where I completely struggle, even though I'm on Ritalin?
Of course.
Yeah, absolutely.
Totally. Of course.
And this is what I say on TikTok. If you've ever been in one of my lives, you know that I just kind of I just go from one subject to the other, and my thought process is not linear, and I have all kinds of side tangents and all this kind of stuff. But what I keep trying to tell people is knowledge is power. And even if you can't get medicated, or the medication's not the right avenue for you, just knowing that you're a divergent just changes everything. Because I felt for the longest time that I just wasn't smart next to him, and I knew that I was bright. I knew that I could figure things out. It just takes me so much longer. It really just takes me so much longer. So I found ways. I realized that I was already finding ways when I was studying for the CPT exam. Like, I had to take practice tests over and over and over again. I need to quiz as much as possible. I need, sometimes just the reading doesn't do it for me. I need other activities.
Yes.
In order
because you're not only a visual learner, you might be a tactile learner, or, there's so many.
Which is why photography works for me, because I can understand the numbers. I can understand aperture and shutter speeds, and I can understand ISOs and all of it. But it's because it comes with in the frame of a photo or a picture, the rule of thirds and all that kind of stuff that comes along depth of field are all kind of complicated concepts to understand. But
yes, because I don't know what you're talking about.
Because I can physically attach it. I can, like, I know it's like nobody knows what I'm talking about, but like I understand it on the level that a ton of people would never understand it. But it's because I can visually see it. I can see depth of field. I know exactly what it looks like.
I hear you. So I have a question for you.
Yeah.
What is a lipstick tomboy?
Good question.
I was waiting for this question.
Well, and anybody who
I know what it is, but I want you to tell everybody what it is.
Okay. So like, we were talking about my childhood, right? And how I just felt like I was never in a very specific group. And a lot of people at the beginning of my TikTok page thought I was trying to label women. And I felt like I was trying to explain how I identified myself.
Right.
And then by therefore identifying myself, I was kind of opening up this jar, of like, we could kind of be whatever the fuck we want, y'all. Yeah. So for me, like, people were kind of like, I found this thing one day and it said lipstick tomboy on it. And like, my mind just went, it made complete and total sense to me without explaining it to a single person. And I kept that for like 8 years. Like, I kept it like in a book, like I had it written down places.
Wow.
And so lipstick tomboy, in my version of a lipstick tomboy, and there's so many out there, I'm now realizing, is I'm like, right now I'm kind of like my real casual self, but most of the time I'm in like joggers and like a t-shirt and a vest, and like I have more sneakers in my closet than I have anything else. And I'll wear my ball cap, but I'll have a red lip on at the same time. Or I can go from, I played competitive soccer until I was 40. I can go from being a competitive soccer player and then having to dress up for my ex-husband's partner event that night and be in like my 4-inch heels and could be completely dolled up. So I have both this kind of like, and I relate to men in a way that I don't relate to women sometimes, and, I'm kind of a no bullshit type girl, which doesn't always come along with femininity. Sometimes, it's kind of like you could be, and I live in Colorado and I want to go hike and I want to go snowshoe and I want to be outside and I don't mind camping and peeing in the woods. But at the same time, like, 9 times out of 10, I'll have makeup on. You know what I mean? So so that's kind of what my version is. I have found out that there are women who are in construction or engineers or people who are in ag or, all these kind of like careers, hobbies, all this kind of stuff. And when you sit down and look at it, it just, I think most women, if they really were to sit and think about it, could probably fall into some sort of lipstick tomboy category.
Totally. What? So yes. All women. All women.
And it really has nothing to do with like gender or sexuality,
stereotypical
or
stuff.
Stereotypes. And I remember right at the beginning when the first video came out, because that was all an accident. I was not expecting this to be a brand. I wasn't expecting it to be anything. I literally was kind of like on my Peloton, just trying to process, because I have to, like, that's a lot of ways, like I have to do things, be busy in order to process. And so I had my phone. I was like, I think I was cooling down or something. I opened my phone and like that video was just when it came out, it just fucking blew up everywhere. And I was freaked out. I didn't know what to do. And there were all these people who were like, why are we labeling women? And I'm just like,
oh God.
Do you know how labeled we are to begin with?
Yes, come on
now. If we
now.
can find an umbrella that encompasses so many of us, it's our nature to find a community and to find other women that we relate to.
Our tribe.
Exactly, our tribe. So that, yeah, it kind of just came out of this. At the time, there was all these videos about being a bra girl, which is kind of like, you know, being a girl, but you don't wear makeup and you got your hat on and you're always in your kicks, and, you know, you relate to men and you're usually doing more outdoorsy stuff. So it was kind of half of what I related to. And I was like, I know these women. I played golf with these women. I've been out with these women. These are my besties, you know, but I was like, but I'm that one that's just like, I was in pageants. I was, you know, like, yeah.
Okay.
I love that.
That's a whole other
yes,
story.
We gotta talk
that's
about
a whole
that.
Other podcast, y'all.
Okay.
I don't mind talking about it, but it's involved.
Okay. So I have two more questions for you.
Yeah.
Or maybe three. So my first one is, you were just talking about how it was an accident.
Yeah.
How did you, what happened? Like, were you like, oh, there's an app called TikTok, let me hop on? Like, what happened?
Pretty much. Yeah. You know, because everybody was kind of, you know, I am one of those, and it's I love it. It's fine. I was one of those quarantine 40 something Gen Xers who decided that and I've been doing a lot of social media consulting at the time, and I'm still doing that. So I thought, well, I need to figure this app out. You know, if I'm going to be a social media person, I can't, you know, not know what TikTok's about. So I was like, well, I'll download it. And I was a voyeur. I was one of those accounts that didn't have anything posted. I literally was. That's me. Yeah, I was on it for a month. You don't post
hundreds of people I follow. Yeah.
Well, and some of those people are like some of the most vocal people on my page. You know what I mean? They don't post anything of their own, but they support their people, which is amazing. And I wanted to post something because I felt like, having been a theater person and all this kind of stuff, I felt like there's something here. Like I could lip sync, you know, like I could do this. I just didn't know what I was gonna do. And if you go back and you look at my account, everything before lipstick, Tomboy is all just all over the place, and like just whatever I liked. And
yes, I enjoyed.
You know, and I had one video that hit like 19,000, and I was like, oh my goodness, this is crazy. And so by the time Lipstick Tomboy hit, I had about 1,000 followers, and I had to watch things on the app for a while just because I didn't understand it and I didn't know how to edit and do all that kind of stuff. And I woke up one morning because all those bra girl videos had been going on. I was like, I just need to explain to people like what is the lipstick, like what this is. And I was blowing my hair out, and I was like, you know, just like, well, you know, and I came up with like the core ideas, and I wasn't sure exactly how I was going to say it. And I filmed it 3 times. And the third time I could get it in within the minute. Yeah. And I posted it at like 8 o'clock on a Sunday and put the app down. And by the next morning, I was completely viral. Just like, and so, you know, then you're like, maybe Trump needs to shut this down after all, because I don't know what to do with this. Like, what do I do with this? And I'm a member of this page called Peloton Singles. It's a Peloton Singles group. And I put a little post, because we talk about all kinds of bullshit. It's like one of those pages on Facebook. And I was like, you know, what would you do if you suddenly realized you're going viral on TikTok? Because now I'm a little nervous. And it was at that point, I think it was it was about at 100,000 views. And that was only in like 24 hours. And I was like, what do I do? Yeah. And they're like, they were like, you can't post that and not post the video. And I was like, so then I had to post the video. I did that. And then all these people came out of the woodwork. A friend of mine here in Denver was like, here's where you get your trademark. Here's your Instagram page. Here's your website. And then there were a couple of women who were in advertising who were like, we wait for people to hit like you're hitting right now. Like and you put it all in a 60-second video. Like your entire business plan is in your TikTok.
Nice.
Like like most people go viral because they put a really great song under a really cute dog,
right?
And now, as I look back and I was like, I don't know what I was thinking. I don't know why it hit. And if you go back and look at the sound, you guys, it is phenomenal.
Nice.
These girls are putting their entire like sporting careers and like high school experience and all this kind of stuff on top of my voice. And you're sitting there like,
Cool.
mind blown. You're just like mind blown. And there are videos like that. That's my voice that is far more viral.
Right.
One girl
so
has
cool.
like, I had 650,000 views on that video. She's got 650,000 likes on my sound. But like, it was her story too. And then and so so that's just kind of how it started. It was an accident. I think I got on in March and I was viral in August.
That's amazing.
You never
go ahead, girl. Go ahead. I love that.
Right. And then I just thought, well, everybody was like, we need tribe t-shirts. And I was like, oh shit. And so I rolled
merch. I can't wait. I want a cup.
They're so cute.
I
rolled all that out. Yeah, I rolled all that out 2 weeks after going viral. I don't know.
Yes, you was on it. You was like, let's get that money, honey.
Let's get this going. And you want to know what my therapist said? The reason I could roll that out in 2 weeks is because my adrenaline was high the entire 2 weeks after going viral. And that's why I could concentrate, and that's why I could get it together. And I was working with a brand designer, and I was working with a web designer, and I was doing all this stuff. And she was like, you take adrenaline in order to be able to work like that. Now you do.
Yeah.
But you had the adrenaline because you just were going viral, and you're like, what do you do?
Yeah.
And so, so literally Lipstick Tomboys, and it's an accident.
I love that. Those are the best accidents. Those are the best fucking accidents. Okay, so 2 more questions for you.
Yeah.
I wanted you to talk about what is next to come. That's the first one. But I also wanted you to kind of hit on the not-for-profit called the Backpack Society.
Yes.
Right? Okay.
Yes. Okay. So let's start with Backpack, because I've been doing work with I'm working with them right now. So Backpack Society is very specific to my county. And one of my really good friends knew I had been doing some social media consulting and knew that I was somebody who I like to give back. I've been looking for a Lipstick Tomboy specific philanthropy for a while, and I just haven't necessarily. Girl Effect is what I put on my page right now through when TikTok makes you choose.
Right.
And that's what I've chosen, but it will have its own at some point.
Right.
That's part of what's next. But
good.
on the side, what we do is we identify the children in our school district who are on reduced lunch or free lunch. And we have our own pantry here in Douglas County. And those kids and families who are on reduced lunch are eligible for weekend and holiday kind of lunch backpacks.
Oh, cool.
So we bag them all up and we give them to the families, and we work with the Colorado Food Bank of the Rockies. Specifically, we also work with it's called Warren Village, and it's for women who've been abused in Denver, and they're trying to get back on their feet. It's kind of like a small apartment type community where we work with them, we give them food. We also do turkey dinners and Christmas dinners. And because of the pandemic, we opened that up to anybody who just felt like they needed it. We didn't even have to really vet anybody. So specifically, that's what we do. I run all of their social media. So I'm on their marketing team. And I've been doing that since shortly after Lipstick Tomboy hit, so since early October.
That's awesome.
So it's really rewarding. It was a woman here started in 2019 out of her garage. We just got news that we're in we leased a new space where we can actually, our other space wasn't climate controlled. So we could only keep certain pantry items there, and you still had to have a fridge offsite, that kind of stuff. So now we've been donated, not really donated, given like a discounted space and all this kind of stuff.
Oh,
So we're getting ready
great.
to move into there. Yeah. And we're expanding exorbitantly just because the pandemic is, there's so many people who are in need right now.
Yeah,
so
true.
It's pretty amazing. And
awesome.
And I work with them.
So what's next? What is
next?
to come?
What is to come? I currently work with a success coach here, and we've been kind of trying to figure out what Lipstick Tomboy is supposed to look like. And I've got, I have a notebook and I've written down, he was like, write down all the ways to make money. And every time I write down like ways to like monetize it, it feels disingenuous. So I'm kind of in this place on, does it look like a lifestyle brand or is it a mission? I'm more kind of on the mission side, but doing that, I feel like the next, even if it were a lifestyle brand, kind of the next step would probably be a podcast. I feel like I'm better at expressing my ideas than I am writing them down. And some, and a lot of times TikTok needs to be silly sometimes just so you can continue to get an outreach and get people to see the important things you have to talk about. So there's that I want a female, very female specific. I don't know if it's one that's already established or if I want to establish one as the brand itself, but I want a female philanthropy. One of the reasons I love working with Backpack is that we're an all-female ran nonprofit.
Cool. I love that.
It's pretty awesome.
That's so dope.
I know, right? Like, and so my whole goal is like, because I came out of this marriage not really knowing who I was, and I put my thought on who I was out there, and all of a sudden I was like, oh shit, like, do I really know who I am?
Right.
Holy shit.
Yeah. Totally.
I was in the process of finding all of that out before we got the divorce. And even he says, he's like, you've obviously done some major work on yourself because it's night and day.
Wow.
And he was like, and I'm sorry that we had to separate in order for you to find that. And he had said that, but so, feelings. Yeah, but I hope for this type of self-realization for all women, and I feel like we're not allowed a lot of times and to express it because we're expected not to adhere to boundaries, and we're expected to give more than we take. And I know that taking sounds different, but you have to take in order to give,
receive.
Exactly.
Definitely.
You need to take care of yourself.
It has to be a circular thing that happens.
It has
most
to be.
Definitely.
There's no way, because if your cup is empty, there's no more to give.
Oh my God.
If you continue, eventually it's just going to dry up. And so
that was so perfect.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much, Lauren. That was an amazing conversation. You are so fantastic. I love you so much.
Thank you so much for having me here. This is my first experience in a podcast. So
was it okay?
It was awesome.
Okay.
Awesome. I love this. Yeah.
So you have to come back again.
I will. Anytime. You just tell me when. I'm here.
Okay.
With drinks.
With some margaritas.
With drinks. I mean, time. I know.
She already got one.
I know we have to get our tequila.
I know we gotta get it together, Di.
I told you I was gonna treat it just like a live on TikTok because that's what I do. I have a little something I sip on. Yeah. I'm not one of those, I'm not down anything, but I just need a little something to do with my hands, a little liquid courage. Yeah.
Yes, I hear you. So to my listeners, thank y'all so much for listening. I love y'all so much. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope you keep listening. And you know where to find me. You know where to find Di. You know now where to find the Lipstick Tomboy.
Find me.
Bam, she's on everything, y'all. The Lipstick Tomboy. That's what it is.
Oh, you guys are so sweet.
All right, and we are out. Deuces. Say goodbye to the people.
Bye.
Love ya. Bye.